So an innovative educator is using hip-hop as a teaching tool for everything from business to personal development.
Jamila Sams, an educator with more than 20 years experience and self-proclaimed hip-hop head, created a curriculum titled We Do It for the Culture to engage students in middle and high school. And Jamila is joining us now to share more about the program. Good to have you here, Jamila.
Thanks for having me.
You know, we were talking about the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, right, and the language of it all, and how it really tells a story, the narrative of it all. It makes sense that this would become a curriculum. So how did you, Jamila, go into this and look at the whole 50 years and say, okay, we can create a lesson plan here?
Yeah, so hip hop is a culture, is what we live, is what we breathe. It's the #1 music genre in the entire world. And so for young people, hip hop is an opportunity for them to express themselves through the various elements of the art. And what I decided to do was to align what's happening with our young people, social emotional learning, topics that they want to talk about, and think about, okay, which hip hop artist speaks to some of those topics, and then make that alignment so that schools can have safe and brave spaces for students to be their authentic selves and talk about things that are really important to them.
You know, what's amazing is New York, Baltimore have both incorporated this program into their curriculum. What do you think of that, and what does it actually look like?
It's amazing. It's actually in 15 states right now.
Wow.
Because hip hop is universal. Hopefully one day we will, be all over the world.
Yeah.
But what it looks like is teachers are trained in how to facilitate the lessons, and they actually conduct the lessons with students in classrooms. And typically these classroom spaces are very small and intimate spaces so that they can have deep and more authentic conversations with students.
Yeah, and how do you break it down, right? Because it's not just about the music and the lyrics and the artist. There's the whole business side of it too, and the money that's made. Look at somebody like Dapper Dan, for example. So how do you kind of break it all down?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we connect the 5 elements of hip hop to the 5 social emotional learning competencies. And right now, social emotional learning has always been an integral part of learning, but it's the process of students being able to name their emotions and leverage their emotions for positive change. And so what we do is we use the art of storytelling, because essentially that is what hip hop culture is all about, telling stories through the 5 elements, telling it through fashion, through business, entrepreneurship, and then we help students to make those connections. So for example, the 5th element of hip hop is all about knowledge of self. And that's directly connected to the first social emotional learning competency, which is self-awareness. So now students are making the connection, not just in school about what it means to be self-aware, but now when they're listening to different tracks and when they're outside in the community, they're able to make those references as well.
Isn't that something, though, that if you don't really listen to the lyrics, you're not getting the whole picture?
Yeah.
But even rapper Styles P, he's a connection to your health lessons.
Yeah.
Can you explain how that worked out?
Absolutely. And so we have quite a few schools here in New York City. And one of our competencies is all about relationship skills. And what we try to do is we help students to take their narrative and then connect it to something that's bigger or outside of themselves. And so when I think about nutrition and healthy living, I couldn't think of anybody else to portray in our curriculum than Styles P and the work that he's doing with Juices for Life. And so what we have is a lesson called Health is Wealth. And so students are able to really think about how nutrition plays out in their life and what's the connection to being in a better mind, body, and spirit, and that connection to learning, not only for themselves, but for their families, similar to the work that he's doing in transforming the way that what we put in our bodies in a community.
You took one of those shots, remember?
Yeah. Oh, I did take one of those. Oh my gosh, the oregano one. Ooh, that was strong.
Very, very potent.
Yeah, that was very potent under the tongue. I think I still taste it. Let's talk about, though, because I'm fascinated by this, and I really think what you're doing is so important, because you're meeting students where they're at and making learning something that they want to do to go to the classroom. I feel that some lesson plans now are potentially outdated, and you lose the student's interest. So what are you hearing from the student himself?
Yeah. What I love is that students feel like they can talk about things that are really important to them now. I kind of use the analogy of like when you say to your spouse, honey, we need to talk.
Yeah.
Their first reaction is, okay, where's the closest door? How do I get out of here? Talk about what? But for students, they have the same thing. So when you force students to talk about things like empathy, talk about respect, talk about how you're feeling, it feels forced. But now we're doing it through the lens of hip hop culture, something that they can relate to.
Yes.
So they're more likely to take their guard down and have a more relaxed conversation.
I mean, just look at what Hamilton did too. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Learning about Alexander Hamilton in a textbook or learning it in a hip hop musical.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a whole different perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, hopefully the lessons that they learn are as easily remembered as they remember lyrics.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, yes. It's all about how we make them feel.
Yeah.
All right.
Amazing.
Jamila, thank you.
Thank you.